What you're looking at there is a gigantic extinct set of cataracts, like you would find at Niagara Falls, but to use Graham's term, writ large. We're looking at a ridge. We're looking east. The tsunami wave that swept down over these 4 states, one branch of it swept off to the west. This particular branch of it was 400 feet deep when it hit this ridge. And what it did was it spilled over the ridge, and down here in the foreground you see the modern-day Columbia River. From the top of the ridge where you see the agriculture and the landscape down to the river is about 1,000 feet.
Whoa.
So you basically have to picture you've got this huge sheet of water, 300 to 400 feet deep. It's rushing over, and it finds the lowest spot within this ridge, and that's where it starts focusing its energy. And as it does, it begins to just strip away the rock. Now, what you're looking at here is this cataract complex is about 5 miles across. And the water came, and you see you've got those kind of curved Finger Lakes at the top.
And those tunnels.
Those are potholes.
That's insane.
Potholes are formed by underwater turbulence. And in a flood this swiftly moving with this much turbulence, you literally have vorticular eddies, high intensity, high amplitude, high energy, underwater tornadoes, literally underwater tornadoes. Now, these underwater tornadoes are typically, in this case, about a half a mile wide.
Oh, my God.
And they're spinning at a high rate of speed, and they're probably 600 feet deep because the water pouring over the ridge is at least 200, and you can see what it's done to the bedrock.
Anybody listening, you gotta look at this. You have to look at this and then listen to the scale.
This is a gigantic scar in the landscape, of which there are hundreds around this region.
And the exact location, Randall?
This is Potholes Cataract.
Right.
The exact location. Yeah.
Somebody wants to get to it, which we're in Washington State still?
Yes, we're in Washington State. Central Washington. It's going to be right on the Columbia River, just below Wenatchee.
Mm-hmm. Okay, where we
Washington.
saw that huge erratic,
yes, very
giant 18,000-ton boulder brought there, enchained in an iceberg floating on the flood, an iceberg the size of an oil tanker carrying an 18,000-ton boulder, carried on the flood, grounds 700 feet up a valley side, rests there as the floodwaters recede, the ice melts away, and the boulder is left sitting there.
We're going to look at a picture of that boulder in a second.
What do the people back in this part of the country, what do they think about this?
Well, they're only just catching on to what they're sitting on top of.
The
first time I went out here in '98, there was the Ice Age Floods Institute, and I went to their only location, which was in the Better Business Bureau in Moses Lake, Washington, and they had one room in the back of this Better Business Bureau, Chamber of Commerce, and there was 2 elderly ladies in there who were basically the overseers of the group. Now there's about 24 chapters, and every year there's several guided field trips led by geologists who are studying this in their off time. And I've been on a number of these just to participate and get the access to the geologists in order to pick their brains. But this is very close to Wenatchee, Washington. So if anybody's wanting to find this on Google Earth, this is a Google Earth image. Now what we're going to do, but before we leave the Google Earth image, I was going to explain that you got those, see those lakes, those meandering lakes up there. Mm-hmm. What you got to picture is you've got a sheet of water coming. And as it's coming over this ridge, it's beginning to selectively erode into fault lines and cracks within the bedrock. Can you picture that? Mm-hmm. The water is going to naturally try to go into those low spots where there's cracks and fissures, and it'll start going from a sheet into channeling. What goes from sheet to a channel, then that spills over the ridge. And in the middle, you see this, it's called a rock blade. See that? The rock blade is that yes, that's it right there, separating the 2 alcoves. If the flood had continued for another few days, that rock blade would have been gone, and you would have had a single alcove up there. Now, in the next, as this proceeds, what we're going to do is we're going to go down, and we're going to be right at the head of the rock blade. Right there, yeah, right there. We're standing right there. So now you're going to get to see, as the drone is about to take off, you're seeing the landscape. We're looking to the east in the direction of those Finger Lakes. And I guess the soundtrack.
Is it not playing in the sound?
No. Oh, there we go.
You want to hear it?
A little toccata and fugue in D minor.
Ooh.
Okay, and the landscape opens up. So you're on that rock blade.
We're on the rock blade right
Okay,
there.
that's
So
what-
now you can begin to see the scale of this thing that we were just seeing from Google Earth.
Well, now when you describe it, I mean, I would have just looked at it and go, wow, that's kind of cool looking. I would have never have thought, oh, that was obviously created by water pouring through.
That's the problem, is because we haven't had the scale of perception. It took Brett's 25 years to put the pieces together.
Well, also, we haven't been able to take these sort of high-resolution photographs
Pause
from
there,
drones
Jamie.
right above it till recently.
Yeah, it gives us a whole other insight. I mean,
Yeah.
it used to be $1,000 an hour to get up there in a helicopter. Now you can fly a drone around, it's
With a
amazing.
phone.
Yeah, exactly.
With a GoPro on it.
Right here in the middle ground, you see that big hole? That's about 200 feet in diameter. That's a pothole that was created by this swirling vortex of massively turbulent water.
Holy shit, this is incredible.
In other words, the evidence is all over the landscape,
All
staring
over
us in the eyes, and it's only in the recent years that it's started to make sense.
Where we've evolved the eyes to be able to see this. And so now by going out here with a drone, I've been over this landscape several times in a small plane to see it from that perspective. But now, like he just said, like Graham just said, now we've got a drone. It can go up and see it from a whole different perspective. And now you can see the man standing right down there on the rock.
No.
Do you see him?
Oh, that little dude? Yeah.
That little dude.
Yeah.
That little dude is 6 feet tall. He's not that little.
I mean, on the picture, he's little.
No. In
sure
real
he's a
life, he's
regular-sized
actually only
person.
4 inches in height. it's an illusion.
What's to me stunning, I mean, this is really beautiful and cool and everything like that, but what's really stunning is the initial picture, where it becomes so obvious, that above picture where you see the farmland and that just, it's so obviously cut.
Sliced out of the landscape.
Well, let's see the rest of it then, as the drone flies over. Yeah. So, and then we have what's called classic scabland. You see all these mounds, these kind of lumps. That's what are the scabs on the scabland. That's why it's called scabland.
And again, it's flooding that causes it. Differentially plucking material off the surface.
Wow. This is incredible. And then there's water remaining.
Yeah, that fill the potholes. Yeah.
God, it's
There you get a sense.
Oh my God.
There you get a sense of the rock blade.
Well, there you get a sense of what the volume of water must have looked like when it was rushing through there.
Right, and see, this is just.
Holy shit.
We've looked at 2 features now: Camas Prairie and Potholes Cataract. We could sit here for the next 10 hours looking at dozens and dozens of these mega features. And you look at, there's a whole